إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد أيها الأخوات إخواني السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Today, inshallah ta'ala, we will discuss about how we do in the month of Ramadan nowadays. كيف تصوم في رمضان هذه الأيام? Please pay attention that we are not saying the fasting, we are saying Sawm. So when we look at the pillars of Islam, we have 5 pillars in Islam. So when we become Muslim, submit to Allah Tabaraka, then we have to believe. The belief is the mental function. You are convinced to believe a Shahada that false gods existed in the creation of Allah Tabaraka Ta'ala, and Allah is the one who God, and that is the understanding of La ilaha illallah, and then witness that the Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his slave and his messenger. Pillar 1, Shahada. The second pillar is the As-Salah, meaning pillar, and that is second pillar. And the third pillar is the Zakah, the annual payment from your you qualified to extract a certain amount of the wealth is 2.5% of annual after one lunar year, and then you to the Muslim poor, that is called zakah. And then fourth pillar is Sawm, which we popularly know in different name. The Sawm in the month, which his name is Ramadan, and once in a lifetime to Makkah al-Mukarramah, that is the fifth pillar. So all fifth pillar who claim to be Muslim must have knowledge what those pillar mean. So popularly, there's a translation going on that a Sawm, is it fasting? Well, fasting, the word is inappropriate. It is the requirement of Sawm, because the fasting in the Western world, I believe fasting meaning is a kind of a prolonged state of not drinking, not eating solid food. But some individual understand fasting, you can drink water, like a dry mouth, you can sip 1 or 2 sip water, or maybe without tea, or fasting like a prolonged, like a 24 hours fasting for health perspective. But it's not the fasting, the word is appropriate for religion, because not deal with only drinking and eating. It has another aspect which must form, which is sexual activity. So the word fasting is inappropriate. Listener should not use this word as a translation of Sawm. So what would be the Sawm? The translation of Sawm is Sawm. There is no translation for Allah is Allah. There is nothing like this. There is no translation for as-salah. Salah is salah. No translation for the Hajj, because Hajj is Hajj. The created from Europe to America, they are also called pilgrim. So some people from the came to the North America and occupied their land by any means, and then so the pilgrimage is a modern move. So it is not a Hajj. So as it is not an annual tax. Okay, so it is a zakah. If you are not qualified, supposed to give it. And then condition is completion of 1 year. And disposition is also authentic recipient. So there is no translation for zakah. So all the except shahada, which is witnesses, like a two shahadatain, two witnesses. One, this is the only true God who required the worship and befitted for him, and the Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his messenger, who witnesses. Those you can translate as a witnesses, like a true witness, shahada, or witness, which is believe. But the rest of them, no translation. So our is very clear. There is no word fasting in terms of Sawm. Basically, an abstainment. Abstain. You refrain from fasting. Like you refrain. You are not. You for a time frame. You are not. But you could go after a certain time. So that is called Sawm. So of abstinence, okay, so a period, so it is not a fasting, so please do not use fasting. Now what's the big deal? If you say, if you argue, the number one, you are misinterpreted and you are under reporting a truth which Allah Tabaraka Ta'ala revealed, that Allah didn't revealed what you are saying. So it is sound. Basic take-home message is to learning some vocabulary from Arabic, Quran, and Sunnah. That's the requirement to be a Muslim. So, period of abstinence, which is called Sawm, and the word Sawm came in Al-Quran and Siyam 9 times. Basically, the same word as the same noun has a different spelling. So number one, this abstain from eating any form of eating, which is eating goes to solid food. You are need someone need to chew, biting, using teeth or tongue or mouth. That's the procedure to eat a solid food. The second is drinking. It's from the water until any kinds of drink. And if you system by mouth, then it is a drinking and you cannot stay from. And sexual activity, which is very known to the usual sexual activity between male and female, that is abstain from. Normality. The sexual activity in the nowadays, the way we are not supposed to discuss this abhorrent, disgusting topic, frame of some or religion in Islam. Islam does not deal with this, okay, which is natural, found in the civilization that Islam talking about. So, sexual activity means between a man and woman grossly, and that aspect of sexual activity which will come down the road, and we will see that is we should pay attention. So, who checked to perform the Sawm, which is we call Mukallaf, means a person who is religiously responsible. So, all the 5 pillars of Islam each pillar has different uh, like a requirement, how you became responsible. Like it's not like a Muslim child born in a Muslim family, and since he was born, and immediately responsibility shoulder or her shoulder. It's not the case. It case goes with the knowledge. So that's why we use the word mukallaf. The mukallaf means religiously responsible. Three component. So three component makes religious responsibility a requirement for a person. The first is al-bulugh. Bulugh is the like a boy or girl when they reach the maturity, what we call in Arabic the sinur rushd is the age of maturity. Like when a person does understand and prohibition, like do's and don'ts. A person understand what to do and what if somebody command or somebody give a written form of command or verbal form of command, the person understand and can perform the way the demand. So that is called age of maturity. So what of maturity is one for the girl is onset of a period like a menstrual it depends on what age, but for the boy is the wet dream. Is usually comes with the nocturnal emission of comes or semen is a sign of blue maturity. If and then other physiological sign is the, the pubic hair and also the hair axillary hair. So all this sign, if it does not meet together, 15 years is the cutoff age for maturity. So a person must be mature to carry out the responsibility of Sawm. So then we have another condition called aql, sanity. The person must be a sound mind. A person who has intellectual deficit, disability or deficit, or person mentally not stable, like a psychotic or very deleted information, so patient is not in a sound mind. So that then one of the condition of mukallaf is missing. So it will not make responsible to carry out the Sawm. The third, the most important is al-qudr, physical ability. If a person physically able to fast, then it's definitely in the early age. So, like from the age of 10 to 15, grossly in between. So, this person we can identify as a mukallaf min al-muslimin or Muslim, okay, the girl and the boys. So these three conditions, maturity, sanity, ability, physical ability, together comes, then person should responsible, and if it is not responsible, mukallaf. So we cannot do anything for that person. Then what are the sources of information are going to present today's presentation? The number one source is Al-Quran, and the second source, Sunnah. So the Quran, Al-Quran Al-Karim, the noble Quran, and the Sunnah Mutahhara, the authentic Sunnah, both are the same level. There is hierarchy between two sources. The popular understanding, the certain community, they thought the Quran and the Quran, is the prime source of evidence, and if you cannot find it, back to Sunnah. This is incorrect, incorrect, absolutely incorrect. Rather, Al Quran and the Sunnah both are the evidence, and both same level, and most of the time, Sunnah modify the rule of Quran or explain the Quranic commandment. The Sunnah modifying factor or explanatory evidence what is talking about or stated majority of the time. So without Sunnah, carry out the commandment of Al Quran. So both as a source of evidence are the same significance, same powers, quality, similarity is the same. So we call it Al Quran as Sunnah. Then how it comes. So before we are going to perform, we must have a cognizant of ibadah. What is it? As Sawm. Why we are doing al-ilmu? It is one of the requirement of basic of a worship, because it is fundamentally a physical worship. So what first deal is the boy and girl who is going to perform the, he or she must know that what it is. It is a pillar of Islam, number one. It has certain instruction and it is a mandatory. And the purpose get closer to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. That is the ilm. What is requirement? What are the obligation? What are the prohibition? How many days it makes? Usually it is a month of Ramadan, once a month in your calendar can be 29 days or can be 30 days. It cannot be 28 days. It cannot be 31 days. There's a difference between solar calendar, kind of logistic, and like a laundry list of the knowledge. A perform person has to know. This is the requirement. Al-ilmu, cognizant, be knowledgeable about the worship. Okay, it is not the purpose to slim your body. It is to feel pain of the poor. Those are the distorted purpose. Nobody authentic the purpose. It is fundamentally is a worship to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And the one of the worship is that by performing we fulfill the rights of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, as we are saying that we are the slave and Allah is the owner in mankind, and then we are supposed to worship him, and worship is a sawm. And about this we need a sufficient knowledge, because pillar of Islam. The second is certainty, al-yaqinu. It is a day when you really start the Ramadan. Say in North America, United States and Canada are not a Muslim land, Muslim country. So nobody has authority to declare the Ramadan. So we depend on sources of overseas. So usually, the case that most of the time, other country they declare Ramadan and we follow them. Night before you start, you have to have an intention. and you are certain that you are going to fast or performing Sawm. Although I'm saying, but this is a Sawm, performing Sawm, so you need a certainty. Be sure, not like um, shaking in the mind. You are sure, certain, and you finish the month and there is no doubt in your mind. So beginning, no doubt, at the end, no doubt. And then each night you have to be certain that tomorrow the going to fast. So this is the certainty. Then ikhlas, sincere. Now, ikhlas, sincerity, this is the worship. You should abstain from many things: drink, eating, drinking, sexual activity, and also other um, uh, like not to backbite, slandering, taking all disobeying Allah Ta'ala. So nobody is watching basically. So you should be very sincere towards Allah Ta'ala that if you are hiding and eating somewhere, nobody is watching you, but you should be very, very thoughtful that Allah is watchful onto you. So you should be very sincere to perform. And this worship of sincerity, because a parent cannot monitor whether the son is performing Sawm, because if they don't understand, if they are not sincere. So, and also the sincerity also require that the like thoughtful that you are doing and nobody is watching you and Allah is the one who is watching and you are very sincere to perform. Ikhlas. It should be genuine. What is genuine means? Like when performing Sawm and and you cannot pretend. You went, someone is asking you, are you fasting in their language? And he said, you cannot do that. Okay. You cannot deny to the certain thing because you're living in America and someone, a colleague or classmate, may have negative thought about you and you are your religion and you try to hide and you say, it's okay, I'm not going to tell you this and that. That's lack of genuineness. So you should be sidqun, truthful. You are perfect Muslim, nothing to be shamed, nothing to be hide, but your performance is genuine. Okay? So no other way around, no hypocrisy in your performance. Then mahabba. The performing the Sawm, you cannot take it like a, oh, it is so difficult, it's so like what we call we have no choice, being a Muslim, I'm in big trouble now. If you do so, then one of the pillar or one of the requirement to worshipper is missing. Every worship you need to be a sense of loving or liking. Like you nobody force you, but you take the responsibility and you love to perform. You love because it will give you a benefit in akhirah, also in this dunya in terms of religion, righteousness. Okay, so you do not complain to anyone. Whom do you complain to? No one. You are in of liking it. So this is mahabba. Then the inqiyad. You compliant. Compliance means like the way it is designed That way you should perform, like eating certain time, and the time should not be delayed, should not be hourly, okay, and you follow the what other things must be done according to the rule of Sharia. So compliance with the rules and prohibition and permissibility, permissible thing, you should take it easy, and all should sort of prohibition you should be abstain from and perform the way it is designed, applied in your daily life. And this is 100% compliance. If possible, then a great amount of compliance is needed, that we call it rad. Then the last one is al-qabul. You need to accept, all the worship by default, because other escape from this dunya. وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. Allah Tabaraka, his book Al-Quran Al-Karim, he mentioned that don't die except you became Muslim. So we accept all this condition and the and our behavior, it needs to be adjusted accordingly. It deserves accept everything without arguing or putting a question or in a doubt also. A doubt cannot be placed in the mind that what it is. Okay, so that is the total requirement for this Sawm. The time frame of the Sawm in a daytime. So the first Islamic calendar start with night. Okay, the lunar calendar, the Islamic calendar, meaning is we use the solar calendar who start with the middle of the night, like 12 o'clock, and it goes 24 hours and then end at the same time. But that's not the case. Islamic calendar. Islamic calendar basically start after sunset. The night comes before. So in this fashion, we have certain eating. We have a fancy knowing. Those knowing you need to. This is a requirement for the uh, developing your vocabulary and communicate each other. This is a tradition. Being Muslim, certain terminal, certain terms and vocabulary is required to learn. You cannot literally, but you can understand what does it means. Number one is suhoor. We call it sahar, sahur, sahur or suhoor. Sahur, also both are correct. Not sehri. This is incorrect. There is nothing sehri. Usually, our back Bangladeshi. So Bangladeshi is coming out a very weird vocabulary, and it is actually sometime is word or redesigned is not good to say this. Suhoor or sahur, it is a meal when you finish to eat the true fajr, or, in the late night, when the fajr azan is designed to in the machine, or it is written in a calendar before that. You have to finish your meal. Even if you don't need to eat a lot of items in the suhoor meal, at least you can a glass of water. This is healthy and it is a sunnah. And this meal is a barakat, meaning is a blessing. The way you will be blessed in terms of many spiritual benefit, also physical, mental, and the benefit dunya. So this is the suhoor meal, sahur, and then when the dark in the eastern sky, skyline in the horizon, eastern side, then eating and drinking. We should not do anything and stop. We call it imsak. Stop eating, drinking. This is dark. Like in the during the imsak, the adhan, the time of adhan is given in the time of imsak. That does not indicate you're supposed to pray Fajr Salah immediately. That's the mistake. Because the in the calendar, the popularly generated in the community, actually the time of most of the time, and you stop eating to protect your Sawm. And then there is another meal which is iftar. So iftar is the after sunset. So from the suhoor up to the iftar meal after the sunset, then this whole meal from those three activities is called Sawm. So sunset, no, the Fajr is actually true Fajr. So in where you live in North America, people usually don't go out how the true Fajr looks like in the eastern sky, but they depend on there. But it should be very, very important because local masjid, they can make, if they do so, then you have to be aware of the timing. What that in the complete darkness you cannot pray Fajr Salah. Okay, so a little a sign of eastern skyline, the horizon, it should be some whiteness. As you see in the picture, there are some reddish horizontal line and the whitish horizontal line, and gradual spreading the line and getting whiter and whiter of true Fajr, true Fajr. So it is the how it looks like. Light pollution in the modern city like New York or Chicago or Toronto is very see the typical Fajr Sadiq in the eastern because of the light pollution. But you may depend on the local masjid on the Fajr in the dark when the time eloped or end, you just stop eating. Then sunset. Now sunset is like when the sun on the horizon. So when sun disappear from the horizon, it depends who you are. If you are in the plain land, then your sunset will be uh, time. But if you are in a 100 skyscraper, you are located. For example, you are in the airplane or you are in the top of the big tall tower building, so the sunset will be a little bit delay. It depends on you right now. The this is a sunset. When sun disappear from the horizon, you can do your fast, which is iftar. And only iftar is done by drinking a little water or dates or other sweet, and then you pray Maghrib Salah. So the breaking sound and prohibition or keep sound. So now we are going to discuss a few serious which can break the sound or what is prohibited, you should not perform, and what to do. So those things. The first one is eat and drink forgetfully. Somebody beginning of the fasting, I mean the Sawm, the month of Ramadan, when the behavior is not getting used to, and in the daytime when you are classroom or workplace, someone is offering a piece of cookie or light, and you may eat or you may drink, but you are not aware that you drink or eat, like very little. Sometimes you may be forgetful, completely out of mind. It can happen. So, what you need to do, we'll discuss forgetfully. Now, then, if the female, their period, once they are starting their sound, if she or notice that her period start during the sound, then the sound. So then the girl or the female can eat and protect herself from the contamination of the menstrual blood. She should be mindful that her sound breaks up. It starts. So this is another issue. It can start, or it can start before stop also, period. And then what to do? You need to take shower. So those will be details. And for the boys, uh, particularly, drink, especially in the suhoor, if they eat a lot and go to bed, and because too much eating and drinking, there is a problem in their bladder area. It can give a quick arousal. At that time, the boy can get a wet dream very quick. In that situation, and what to do? So we'll discuss this thing, wet dream. It is a very common phenomenon. Somebody sleep in the bed after eating suhoor. That's very, very common, people. Then somebody vomit, throwing up. Now, if you need the vomit, why you are throwing up? Are you pregnant, or you have to vomit automatic, or you have some discomfort in your tummy, you vomit without any intention? So this vomit has a binary. Is it intentional or unintentional? That's the big deal. And the wrong is the intention. Then masturbation. Now, masturbation is the reality. It is a prohibition in Islam, grossly. And in the Ramadan, also perform this prohibition. But the reality is, if somebody does, a male sound is fine. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So we are discussing about the breaking or prohibition, or what to do those following situation, like a 5, eat and drink forgetfully, for the female, wet drink for the boys, vomiting, masturbation, for men and women perspective. So let's talk about forgetfully. If you if you do it completely forgetful, then you ignore, you keep fasting, okay? You are not supposed to do anything, because Allah Ta'ala will ignore the way you are doing like a unintentional. You are not aware, all of a sudden you just put something in your mouth and you chew. you remember, then you spit out, or you stop doing eating, and then you realize, oh, subhanallah, and I made a mistake. So you just keep going and assume that this Sawm is valid. You can continue with the end of the sound. I mean, like a Sawm. Okay. Then, if a life-threatening situation, work in fire department and he work a lot and sweat, as a situation and that the intense thirst, like he's running from in the street for some reason, and the day is long and extreme thirst and cannot tolerate the thirst. And nowadays, hunger is not the issue, because the human preserve the glycogen in the liver and the body for some energy which is usable not only 24 hours, it could be 2 to 3 days without having any difficulty. The main challenge in this sound, thirst, like you are thirsty, you are dehydrated, you are looking for water, you assume that your situation is life threatening. Now, if you do not drink, life will be in danger. In that situation, you just drink, but you should not do anything until sunset. But you have to make a qada. Qada, the word is the remake. Like after month of Ramadan, you have to, one Sawm is not valid. It should be after the day of Eid. You have to, because that was not valid. That's the ruling of life that, and person only drink a little bit to support his life, publicly eating to, because a healthy individual to eat openly. It's not the case of the woman who has menstruation, not fasting, or not performing the Sawm. So this is the, now if you have a period, or you are having period already started, then you are allowed to eat within family. It's not a problem. In the public place, as within family, in the workplace, you can eat if you want to. That's fine. As for women, if their period stop, then and they can eat until end of the day. There's nothing to pretend. That's, if you are eating in the beginning of the day, then you can eat at the end of the day. But you have to start. But before you take, if you perform salah, your prayer, you should take shower. So period. So, but if in your house there are some kids, children who may not understand and practicing Sawm, so then for tarbiyah, for teaching purpose, you are not supposed to eat in front of them, but no problem. Then wet dream. If wet dream happen, nothing wrong in the person who is experiencing wet dream. The semen comes out from the private organ, uh, the sleep, semi sleep condition, and then take shower to be ready for prayer, like for example, Asr prayer. So, any kind of wet dream who ejaculation, Sawm is valid, nothing to be worried about. We call it the state of janaba. Janaba is a defilement, and you are fine. You have nothing to do. Even it happens in the sleep in the daytime or early in the morning, the day. So then the vomiting. Now the if it is unintentional, as I said, like you have a disease, like a stomach flu, you eat something which is obnoxious, which is not good, you don't like it, and you feel uncomfortable, or you are laying down flat, something came to your throat and goes back again. Intentional. So vomiting, we call it throwing up. Your form is valid. You don't need to worry about. Okay. So, but if you are intentional, very rarely the person could be intentional unless he has a mental situation which intentional vomiting is, especially, for example, eating disorder. Okay. Some mental illness, some people wants to be very slim, there's bulimia, there's slim, and so they eat at the same time, they put the finger in the mouth and intentionally they throw up, then you the Sawm. You cannot eat until sunset. Your Sawm is invalid. You have to do it again after month of Ramadan. There is a hadith, authentic hadith is there. So the vomiting is the intentional. The same situation between the wet dream and vomiting, it is prohibited all the time in the Ramadan or in the out of Ramadan, uh, speaking. And if it happens, if somebody caught up in that situation, should take shower because otherwise defilement is there. He or she cannot pray. And uh, then what happened to his Sawm? Now, majority of people saying it breaks the Sawm, majority. And minority scholar, it is haram, like a prohibition, but it may not break the Sawm. As a minority are not going into debate on that issue. Rather, it is a prohibition. You should not do it, but if you do it, then not eat or drink the rest of the day and be mindful. You have to make wudu, then make a tawbah to Allah Ta'ala the day when you are fasting, you perform activity, mat, and then you ask forgiveness from Allah, and Allah will forgive you, but you have to make up one day after month. Now we're showing you a picture that wudu. As you know, to ritually pure oneself, we need to make it. Now, the big our community is coming from famous Bangladesh. I was born in Bangladesh. Uh, I love my country, but even though I am born, but I do not like their tradition because most of the rituals based on some uh, evidences which is are not authentic. Invalidate the activity or requirement. One is wudu. Now, when we make wudu, we are supposed to wash our face. And in that attempt to wash the face, you need to sniff the water. Again, sniff the water into nose. And you You can breathe out at the nose with the help of your two fingers. But our people in my country, like where I was born, what they do, water is not mentioned any hadith. This is nothing. It doesn't do at all. Be careful. It is not in Ramadan. Even without Ramadan, forget it. If you throw the water from your hand, water will not go into the nasal cavity. Why? Because internally you have a positive inside the body, the lungs. It is a plus. It is not a minus. It is always plus. So there's no negative pressure in the body. So if you throw it, the water will not go. Not throw water into nose. Do not. Not in the Ramadan, nothing. The second thing commonly our people does, which is they two finger in the nasal cavity. One is index, one is thumb, like a weight finger. It will not do. If you do not have wudu, you cannot perform the salah. If you cannot, your sound gone. Because the authentic hadith saying that Mr. Salatul Asr, all activity, al-amal al-yawmi, everything is battle, invalid. So it's very important. So do not insert in the nasal cavity. Okay. So what is mentioned in the terms of Ramadan as the Arabic text of Hadith? It said like بالغ في الاستنشاق أن تكون صائما. There is an issue of making wudu. So what we are talking about in our culture, that when the person is making wudu, they throw the water in the nose. The water doesn't go to nasal cavity. So this is a requirement to complete the washing the face. So this is number one. Number two, as that in the nasal cavity. So there is also a tradition that put in the month of Ramadan, they put two fingers, index and thumb, a weight finger, to the nasal cavity. It is not good because it does not fulfill the requirement of wudu. So what the hadith said that istinshaq, sniffing water, month of Ramadan, balighu, meaning is manhi mubalaga. You not supposed to exaggerate, meaning when you sniff the water, you do not need to sniff the water all the way up extreme manner. That is a prohibition. But sniffing has no alternative, meaning is you have to sniff. Now, some misconception comes without knowing the human anatomy, how Allah Ta'ala made our nose and the pharynx and the route of eating and breathing. So that's why we are showing the hadith. The Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Asbigh al-wudu'a, complete your wudu. Meaning is if you do not do so, so wudu will not be complete. وَخَلِّلْ بَيْنَ الْأَصَابِعِ, and you go through canal between your fingers, the feet and the hand. وَبَالِغْ فِي الْإِسْتِنْشَاقِ إِلَّا أَن تَكُونَ صَائِمًا. If you are not fasting, you should not do mubalagha of the istinshaq. Meaning is you should not exaggerate. Only the item of exaggeration when you are sniffing the water is not permissible. But sniffing water, it is a requirement, it is a must. It is the exaggeration of, I think, is clear. Now I want to show you, look at the anatomy of the human body. So you are seeing the nasal cavity. Now, this nasal cavity is connected two-way. Like we have two nasal cavity in the back of the head. It is actually connected. We'll show you the video how it connected. Anatomy, people are thinking very odd. So you are saying the nasopharynx is the area where the water can reach. In the month of Ramadan, you are supposed to sniff water up to the end of the nose. Do not take the water all the way back to the nasopharynx. Even if you take the water to nasopharynx, it will not go to your throat. It will not. This is the human anatomy. I am a doctor and I'm telling you, it is not a culture, it is not a fairy tale, it is the truth. This is how the human being face working. But you have a sensation that as if you are drinking water, actually not the case. It is a sense, but in reality, the water does not go down the throat. In extreme cases, the water can come to your mouth cavity and then you can spit out if it is extreme. So there is no way to drink water when you are sniffing the water during the wudu. Why? Number one, the soft palate. We have a two palate in our mouth cavity. One is called hard palate, another one is called soft palate. The one here, nasopharynx, the way I give the arrow in the just bottom it is soft palate. This soft palate, if you open your mouth, it goes up and it blocks the nasal cavity. The water cannot drift into the throat or into the mouth. So let's see a video. Now the condition is that the water, if you sniff water only one nasal cavity, it has a communication with the other nasal cavity. It will go directly for other route. This is the reality. This is how Allah made your nose. Or putting with water is not at all. Even you sniff with the one cavity, it is still safe. But we are supposed to sniff both nasal cavity at the same time. But if you open your mouth, it will raise the soft palate to block the dripping water into the mouth cavity. So opening of the mouth is important. If you do not keep open your mouth when you are sniffing, then there is a chance to get the water in your mouth cavity. Now you can split out. In addition, in the month of Ramadan, you are not supposed to take more water into nasal cavity too much. Exaggeration, that is nahi. It is forbidden. That does not give a license that put a white finger into the nasal cavity as I described. So when you do so, you have a two choice. One is when you put the water in your hand, you can, a portion of water you can sip, like you can make a madmada, like a washing, rinsing your mouth. Same water you can sniff from the hand, same time when your mouth is open. So the main rule is keep your mouth open when you sniff the water. When you keep your mouth open, you are drawing air in the mouth cavity. It will raise your soft palate and block the water dripping into your mouth cavity to remove your nasopharynx. See the video, please.
Nasal cavities on each side are connected towards the back of the head. This means that fluid inserted under gentle pressure into one nostril will flow through the nostril and nasal cavity on that side, and then around the back and down and out through the opposite nostril. There is a flap of tissue towards the back of the mouth called the soft palate. When you breathe through the mouth, this flap of tissue is raised and closes off the nasal cavity from the oral cavity. This ensures that fluid in the nasal cavity does not enter the back of the throat and cause you to gag or have a choking feeling. If you do not breathe...
So, as you see in the demonstration, that if you open the mouth during sniffing, then the soft palate, it raises and it blocks the entrance of the water in the mouth cavity. If by chance water drip into the mouth, it will not go to your throat. Impossible. You need a voluntary action to swallow the water. Voluntary. You can still spit out. It's a physiology. This is how Allah made our mouth. So somewhere the tradition came to the country named Bangladesh, and we do not know. This is not in a hadith. This is not a teaching in Islam. This is nowhere. It coming from weird idea that putting the wet finger in the nose and throwing water. Water will never ever go to the nasal cavity, as I said, because of the positive pressure inside the body. Now we'll see how a wudu can be performed. It can perform two ways. One is one water, and then you sip and sniff same time. Other way, you do the running out one time and sniffing another time. Both are okay. Let's see the video.
بسم الله. طبعا طريقة المضمضة والاستنشاق اللي بيفعلها الناس إن هو بياخد مية مضمض 3 مرات وبعدين يستنشق.
One.
3 مرات. هذه ليست
another طريقة is
وإن كانت تجوز. الطريقة المضبوطة بنأخذ كف للمضمضة والاستنشاق معا هكذا.
So in this video, you appreciate that the person who made the madmada and istinshaq two-way. First time, the person he did madmada. Madmada means rinsing mouth, putting the water in the mouth. It is not a gargara. Remember, in our, again, do not take anything from Bangladesh. The Bangladesh is not a symbol of evidence in Islam. Evidence in Al-Quran and Sunnah. There is no gargara in Urdu, nothing. As popularly known in our community, they made gargara when it was making a sound in the throat, gargara. It is not in the part of Urdu. You just rinse your mouth all the time. This is called madmada, not gargara. So this is number one. Madmada meaning is Swiss and like you just rinse inside your mouth cavity, very gentle way, not a gargara. Do not make a sound end of the throat or end of the mouth. It's not the case. Number one. Number two, sniffing water is called istinshaq. The water from the nose is called istinsara. So istinshaq and madmada both can be done in a one handful of water, same time. What the person is telling us, kaf, al-ma'ul kaf, like a one handful of water. So a little bit water is taken to the mouth, which is madmada, and the other little water he's sniffing. It can be done same time, or it can be done separately. That's the case. But in Ramadan, you sniff the water, no alternative. Only thing is, you are not supposed to exaggerate the istinshaq. And even if you do so, exaggeration, there is no chance the water can go to your tummy. Impossible, unless you intentionally swallow, because the voluntary muscle is there. Unless you intend, then those water will rest on your mouth cavity and you spit out. But you will have a feeling as if you swallow. Actually, you did not swallow. It is a feeling. In extreme case, if some drop of water trickle down to your throat, your fast is valid, because this thing is not intentional. I think it is enough for you to understand why the wudu of sniffing water is a requirement. It is a requirement. Without wudu, no salah. Without salah, no sawm. Female dress code. Now, in Ramadan, in the Western world, we are saying there are many female, their dress, they're putting a piece of cloth on their head, which is hijab. But it is something which is not supported by evidence. So, like the lower garment is a tights. So, if you wear a garment when you are wearing, but your female anatomy is visible, a person can detect all the body part you are using a pant. Then it is the obligation as a Muslimah, as a female, forget about your Ramadan, Salah, or Hajj. It is prohibited. It is a haram to walk around with this kind of dress in the Ramadan, out of the Ramadan. So we especially urging our youngster female in the month of Ramadan, please do not want this kind of thing. No tights of jeans with hijab. This is a nonsense. You are giving a wrong message to the non-Muslim, which is not good. Because if you do not cover your head, the person may not understand that you are a Muslimah. So wearing a headscarf on the head, you are giving a wrong message that in Islam, you can wear tights. So tight is not allowed, not in the Ramadan, but also outside. So this is our understanding of correct dress code is a requirement all the time, but especially honoring the Ramadan. So what else you can wear? You can wear a baggy pant. Look at the baggy pant like this. And if the lower part of the is dragging in the mud or in the dust, your garment of the female is to hold. That's the hadith. If it is dry, it is pure. Dirtiness is not impure. Impurity and religious purity does not require cleanliness. No, this is a wrong understanding. A female lower garment, if it has a dust and mud, still it is pure. The definition of pure in Bangladesh is not the definition of pure of the dress code in Islam. It is a culture which is not substantiated by authentic hadith. So be careful. A female are allowed to wear a lower pants, baggy loose pants, which drag the mud and the dirt from the street. And with this pant, without any doubt, she can perform salah. She can perform anything. It is pure. No problem, as long as it is dry. That's the question. If it is wet, then let it dry. If it is wet, then it is a different issue. But grossly, it is wearing a shoes. So this is a dress. The top part can be wearing a loose, like a coat. It's important. What we will do with Ramadan Sawm if you are out of the house obnoxious dress code. So that's not good. So the female should be dressed properly, especially honoring the month of Ramadan. It's important, very, very important. So it protects the dignity of the Muslim girl and women as well as identity, and the temperature suitable cloth is uh, is available in the market. You have to strive or you have to tailor your own clothes for a tailoring shop, and you need some resources to make it. So it should have an upper part of the neck area should be shortened, and the full sleeve. And this should be a decent and not a very colorful, attracting other people, creating a fitna and trial and tribulation. That's not the proper way to dress up in the month of Ramadan. So here is the problem of the youngsters. In the month of Ramadan, there are so many ritual activity going around. Like we do this Tarawih, we recite Quran, or complete Quran, then do this iftar, suhoor, lecture, and many things. So the youngsters, they got very, very nervous how to perform this activity. When you have a too many activity, then you have to make a appropriate triage of the ritual activity. When you have too much in your plate, you cannot pick everything at one time. So what are the way to select which way you should perform? Number one is sort out the priority. Which is a priority? Everything is not a priority for the youngster who is especially a graduate student or student in college or student in a high school who's supposed to perform. Their academic classes are going on. Okay, they cannot perform many things as is desirable in the month of Ramadan. So they need to prioritize, put a choice which is more important and which should get more priority, sort out. That's important. Number one. Number two, to understand difference between Sawm and Ramadan. Some activity is connected to Sawm only. It is not connected to Ramadan. They're not mixed together. There are certain activity we do, and it is encouraged, and it is a part of the month. But we are not talking about Ramadan only. We are talking about Sawm. So you need to understand how it differs. It's not the same. There are one or two, it has interconnected, but there is a distinct difference between Sawm and Ramadan. You need to know. Then there is a religious practice hierarchy, which is like a sorting, which is more important, the second important, then the third important, and what is the traditions. Those are the way to pick and choose.